Hey guys, Steb here. This is part 3 of me working on the 1986 Bawoo. Now that I'm happy with the overall proportion of the kit, I want to complete the overall silhouette by working on the backpack. The way that it originally connects to the back is by sandwiching both halves on this hinge here, which would make seam removal on it really annoying. I'm not a fan of that, so instead I'm going to cut a T-shaped runner and use that as a peg for the backpack. It still moves a good amount, and this way I can paint it separately even after removing the seam line. And the propellant tanks here feel far too small, so I'm thinking of replacing them with Wave's G-Tank instead. I used the same ones on my HGUC Bawoo actually. I don't know, I think it looks pretty cool. I've always liked overly big propellant tanks on mobile suits. When cutting out the new propellant tank, I realized that the backpack is currently way too thin for it. It would look pretty unnatural, so after cutting off the old tanks, I decided to sandwich a plot plate in between to widen it. I also lengthen it a little bit as well. And after being happy with the backpack's new size, I drilled 2 holes for the new propellant tanks. Yeah, looks pretty cool. Then I find a junk part with around a 3mm hole and glue it onto the back side of the chest. And this is going to be the new connection for the backpack. Okay, so I am super happy with this. The added wings and the propellant tanks kinda remind me of the High New Gundam. Next, there are a few things that I want to do with the legs. First, I want to carve out these 2 verniers to avoid masking. I didn't do this for the HGUC version, so I want to take this as a chance to kind of redeem myself. There are a few ways of cutting out plastic, but for delicate spaces like this, I like to drill small holes lined up, or using a scriber to make really precise and deep grooves. And I use either metal files or thin sanding sticks to clean up after the cut. After it's good, I glue a piece of plot plate as a backing for the verniers. My choice of connection for the verniers is going to be the usual, drilling a hole and finding something that can be used as a peg. For really small parts like this, I like using paper clips. I have like hundreds of them and it works well with super glue, so why not? Next, I decide to cut out the knee section completely to further avoid having to mask. I made it a peg to hole connection with a piece of runner. And thanks to that, I can glue it securely post-painting without having to worry about alignment issues. Oh, and I want to explain these holes here. This was just based on my theory, but I drill a hole through the entire leg so I can glue a thick runner piece inside as support. In my opinion, just gluing the seam line shut isn't enough to keep it secure since there are no pegs inside. So what I was thinking is that these runners inside are now acting as pegs reinforced by really strong super glue. And next, I want to work on the chest's verniers. I use a needle and a scriber this time to slowly carve them out. Similarly to the verniers on the legs, I glued plot plates behind the hole as a backing. It would take too many footages to include it in the video, but I spent a lot of time filling in the empty gaps after to make sure that they all fit perfectly. But, you know, anything for less masking. For the front two verniers, I'm going to use a different method. Instead of carving out a hole like the other verniers, I'm going to saw them off very carefully. After making sure it looks good, I glue it in the perfect position so I can drill a small hole through it and the chest. Then I use the same paperclip method that was shown earlier. The reason why I drill through the vernier is to avoid alignment issues. One more thing I want to do is secure this orange piece with the chest. It actually has a peg to hole connection, but it's so loose that it doesn't really matter. Just like what I worked on earlier, I'm going to drill a hole through it and the chest. Then I insert a thick runner to act as a peg. So that was part 3 of me working on the Bawoo. This time I did a bunch of things that were sort of experimental. I've been theorizing a lot of this stuff for a while, and to be honest, I'm pretty proud and surprised at how well everything worked out. I feel like I've been on a roll lately, so hopefully that continues. Thanks for watching guys, and see you next time.